Okay, this is take 5 because we keep getting distracted by a dog, but welcome to Hard4Games. I'm Tony.
I'm John.
And we've been covering Tim Stamper's tweets. He is the former co-founder of Rare. Well, he is the co-founder of Rare, but he no longer works there anymore. And he has been tweeting out some very juicy teases.
Oh, yeah.
Now, a couple of weeks back...
Teasiest.
Yeah, teasiest of teases. A couple of weeks back, he showcased the cart and the boot up of 12 Tales Conker 64, which then turned into Bad Fur Day, eventually. And he seems to be on a little bit of a roll because he recently tweeted out the cartridge and seemingly the demo sequence, sort of the demo mode, attract mode from Dream 64, aka Project Dream.
Yeah, which would later become Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes.
And you can see a lot of stylistic choices from it, but had a weird development where it started on the Super Nintendo, looking a lot more like Donkey Kong Country, then kind of turning into this sort of like early 3D PS1 platformer looking thing, and then eventually, after Mario 64, becoming more like a modern, contemporary 3D platformer.
Collectathon, 3D platformer type of thing.
A British developer making a collectathon?
No. Of course not.
As much as I do actually like that genre, you guys do have an obsession.
It's a little bit much, guys. Tone it down. Go back in time and tone
Settle
that down.
Settle down.
We don't need all those things. We don't need all those tidbits. We don't need all the widgets and wadgets and jickies. We don't. This, stylistically, when he boots it up and it shows the captain, the pirate captain, Captain Blackeye, I think his name is, it looks stylistically akin to Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
So it feels like it was maybe kind of more in that state where it was getting a little bit closer to what that was eventually going to be, but not quite Banjo-Kazooie. Now, maybe in this build, Banjo exists. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's the previous protagonist. We don't know. We haven't been shown very much.
Yeah.
Last time we discussed, is this going to be dumped? Is this going to be released? And I think the consensus we came to was that it probably is already dumped. This is talking about 12 Tales. But is it going to be released by Tim? No. You know, we were talking about it being potentially released, but in one of our mentions, the voice actor for Conker actually chimed in regarding this build or possibly a similar build.
Yeah, somebody tweeted at Conker himself, there's a version of Conker's in the Rare archives that nobody, save a select few sworn to absolute secrecy, will ever see. Enough said. Was there a contract made between the programmers to never release 12 Tales? To which he said, no, it was never finished, not even close. That's why.
Yeah.
So I was able to read that, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It probably wasn't nearly playable. It's probably like the Duke Nukem Forever leak, where it's like there's probably bits, but if you've played like some of those early debug modes, where it's a whole bunch of half-working stuff with disjointed level selects, it's not really a game.
The question there is also a little bit, like, a little flawed in that it's asking, are the programmers under contract not to release the game? Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course the programmers aren't allowed to release the game. Like, if you're working for a company, and this isn't like a dig at that person who asked it, but just in case anyone is curious, like, if I'm working for a company, I can't release a product on behalf of the company if I have no power to do so.
And whether or not it might be like an NDA you've signed about that project, it's probably within your contract of employment with the company.
Yeah.
For like certain amounts of like secrecy, because you might not know what is within your game that is actually licensed from other companies, and they don't want that.
Well, sure, but an NDA is saying that you're not disclosing anything. Releasing something is something completely beyond that. Like it's like blows up an NDA to the point where it's like, oh, not only did I discuss it, but I released it. It's completely out of the power of any sort of programmer. But the individual who voiced Conker was basically like, 12 Tales, not anywhere near being finished. And that's something that we talked about before in different interviews. When they were talking about 12 Tales, they were mentioning it being sort of in a very limbo-ish state that lacked direction. And of course it was, because eventually it turned into something else. Bad Fur Day. So I would imagine it would be a similar scenario with Project Dream or Dream 64. I mean, how far do you think they actually got in this game?
Well, based on their descriptions of how often they were going back to square one, which I have to say is a strength of Rare, how many times they were willing to be like, I don't know if this is good yet. Let's start again.
Yeah.
We liked some things from the last version. Let's start again. Because, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of just, like, crap on the 64. Where you go back and you play it, and you're just like, there's some parts that are fun. Like, I know people love Glover. I enjoyed Glover, but I was on codeine at the time because I had a horrible cold, and codeine was in cough syrup back then. So I enjoyed Glover back then. Would I enjoy it now in comparison to modern games?
I didn't really like it that much. So my guess would be it wasn't very far along at all. I mean, per your point, they kept remaking it.
Yeah.
But in the clips they showed in Rare Revealed, yes, it's very cool, and it's very much like, oh, you're in awe because, oh, they're showing these bits from this build that we've never seen. But in each clip, there's not much going on. So, for example, in the SNES build, the enemies don't have AI.
Yeah.
They don't fight back. In the N64 builds, the early ones, when the main character, the guy, is walking
mostly
around.
Just him running around and shooting weird blue balls out
Not
of himself.
interacting with anyone, not interacting with enemies. There's like a little town. There's not much going on.
No.
In the Banjo-esque build, there's no enemies. There's just items and collectibles, right? So again, like all of these were very rudimentary. I don't think there's much on this cartridge beyond like this intro sequence and maybe some like debug levels where there's like the layout, maybe some NPCs with some, whatever, like some dialogue and stuff.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of meat on those bones. There's plenty of bones, not a lot of meat.
Yeah. So, will it be released? No. Will it be released by Tim Stamper? No. But it does beg the question, why does he keep, especially so soon after the 12 Tales one, why does he keep posting this stuff and in the same format?
Beautiful tease, you.
Yeah, so in the same format too, he posts an image, day or so later, posts a little video of the boot up.
Yeah.
Why? Why is he doing this?
Well, I just want to say that I am incredibly angry because I'm very jealous. That's a really nice TV he's got, and he keeps getting the timing on his camera and his TV.
Okay.
Just nailed it. Every single time. You don't see any flicker on that.
So that's,
very well
that's
done.
why he's doing these tweets, is to impress you.
To anger me personally by being like, hey, I know you have a PVM, but what about this one? That's pretty cool, right? And I'm like, damn you, Tim. That's a really sick TV. I love that thing. I love everything about this, the design of that specific Trinitron. It's got a nice big power button, and I'm jealous.
So it's just
he's tormenting me personally.
It's
it has
just
nothing
to show
to do
off
with you guys.
the TV.
Yeah, just to
Period,
me.
the end. That's it. That's all there is to it.
He shows up to me in my dreams holding the TV, and he says, John, you can never have this, and I hate you.
And he fades
And then
away.
we're about to kiss at the end of the TV. At the end of the TV, he's holding up the TV, and then I keep waking up. What the hell, Tim?
Just when you're about to kiss, yeah.
What the hell?
I love that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I wish it ended differently. It's unfortunate that you have that dream 3 times per night.
I want to have a dream where 3 times a night. I want to have a dream where it's just like him and I, like we go and see a cool movie, and then we go and get ice cream. Then we go back to his place, and then we both turn on TVs, and we start doing the thing where you drag your hand on the TV to hear the little zappies.
Yeah.
From the static. Yeah, that's really it. So Tim.
Hit us up, Tim! About them zappies! Give them to us, John specifically.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So,
with that bombshell.
I think at this point, Tim is just posting this stuff because he enjoys the interaction.
Yeah.
Is he clout chasing? I don't know. I don't care. But I think he just is tickled by it.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be nice to be like, look back on all the things you worked on, and especially if you worked at Rare, you had to throw out so much stuff that you worked on during that period, just trying to reform these ideas over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And seeing how excited people get at what was stuff that just got left on the cutting room floor, that's got to be very satisfying.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably it, with zero intention for this to lead to anything, would be my guess. Not my hope, but my guess. If we were to play this build of Dream 64, would it be good? Probably not. I feel like if it was good, they would have released it.
Yeah.
Do we want to play it from a curiosity and historical standpoint?
Oh,
yeah, definitely. But, you know, is this some like lost gem that we just gotta play? Like, no, it's probably not very good.
I think this is sort of like the summation of, like, you know, we started doing beta content and prototypes and stuff like that a long time ago. And it was like, you always are like, man, I finally get to see what could have been.
Yeah.
And then when you actually get to play them, they're these weird, disjointed, half-finished things that are barely a game.
Yeah.
And they're always more interesting as the what could have been. Yeah. Like the, what if something went a little bit different and we got this? Like, it's more interesting to think about what our childhood would have been like if Earthbound 64 did come out than it would probably actually be to play what little of Earthbound 64 actually did get finished.
That's why they say never meet your heroes. John, I appreciate you coming out today to talk to me about this. As some of the commenters asked, who's your new friend? He's my Hard4Games business partner and co-owner that's been on the channel since 2009. And thank you.
A new friend. We met in high school. Like 2001.
There was also a decent period with COVID where I was very solo doing this. I've been trying to do better with having more people.
There's
on the
also
show.
been a lot of like, we'll schedule something and then your son will get like a stomach bug. And you're like, I know you wanted to film this episode with me, but I don't want you to get sick. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to get sick. You do it yourself.
Teasing about people asking that question, but it always just kind of is like, huh.
I always think it's funny when every now and then I'll see people in public and like, hey, you're that guy Hard4Games has on his channel. And I'm like,
you're like, no, I am Hard4Games.
I am Hard4Games.
I am literally right now.
Yeah. Not in every episode, but I am hard.
I am Hard4Games.
And 4Games.
We actually have an equal ownership in the company.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm going to get Bobby to vote you out.
Good.
And then we'll all be like, oh shit, none of us know how to direct.
We're like, I don't know what to do. What do I do with my hands?
ChatGPT to write a script, but I don't know how to edit well.
Yeah, it's like going out to dance for the first time. You're like, I know how to move my legs, but what do I do anything with these? Like, what do I... Oh, well, what are you going to do?
That's why I just go to the goth clubs, because it's so dark and everybody's jerking around so weirdly anyways.
There you go. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, new friend. for
Yes, thank you, new friend. Your name was Tonai, right?
And your name is Jonah.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me today. Hope you all enjoyed this episode. We will keep our fingers on the pulse of the Tim Stampery. If anything new comes up, we'll discuss it. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that stuff, and hope to see you all back for the next video.
And if there's a prototype you've always wanted to play, but you're sure it's not going to be great if you did, let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
that definitely isn't me just saying that so it'll promote us with the algorithm. Interaction's great. You don't always have to you don't have to give us money or Patreon or anything like that. But if you click like and do stuff, that actually really helps us.
It actually really does. Yeah, we appreciate it.
And it costs you nothing.
Costs you nothing.
Except your sweet, precious time on this earth.
Wow, John, you're really pushing for this. Really pushing for these comments.
Do it. I said do it, you fuck.
Hey!